Hi everyone, in today's video I'm going to show you how you can sort, flag and rate your photos and make the whole process really simple. Hi everybody, Richard here and welcome back to the latest video in my beginner's Lightroom course. In the last video, we spoke about how you can import your photos from your existing hard drive or from your new photo shoot from your memory card and get them into Lightroom. This and all the other videos are down below if you need to look back on those ones. And today we are going to look at how you can sort, rate, flag, and basically organize your photos. And stay tuned to the end of the video when I'm going to show you a real quick trick or a real must do on what you have to do if you're going to move your photos around your hard drive, so stay tuned for that. Firstly though, we are going to do a few things in the Lightroom catalogue to make the whole process a lot simpler, so I guess it's time to jump right into Lightroom and I'll show you that now. Right, so the first thing we're going to look at is how you can actually view what's on your screen. So we are going to come up to here and look at view and then view options, and this gives us lots of different checkboxes and options and how we can actually see and the information that each grid thumbnail here displays. So first thing we're going to do is stay on grid view, which is the view that we're looking at now, and there are lots of options here that you're going to play around with. Now the two areas I guess of this that I look at the most is whether you want expanded cells or compact cells. Now I have expanded cells, which gives you this information at the top of the thumbnail and this information at the bottom of the thumbnail. You can have compact cells, which doesn't give you that information, but I always like to have a little bit of information there so that I can see the photo that I'm looking at, its rating, things like that, just to give you a quick glance at what you're looking at. So we're going to go back to expanded cells. And down the bottom here, expanded cells extras are the bits that you can tailor make to what you see. So you can see here at the top of each thumbnail, I have the file name. And if there's a copy of that file name, which we'll come on to in a second, you will see that it says file name and copy 1 or copy 2, something like that. I also have the dimensions. Now these are the crop dimensions that I've chosen here. So if you crop the photo, that's the dimensions that should be shown here. And on the bottom right of this top section, I have the file extension, so I can see if I'm working with a RAW file or a JPEG. And there is another option to put something above the area where the JPEG is. I normally don't need anything, but let's pretend that you do, and you could put on something like the capture date and capture time. And you can see now that up here there is additional information, but we are going to remove that for the time being. So that is grid view. There's also loop view. Please correct me down below if I'm saying that wrong, but there's loop view where you have a single photo at a time, and you get two different information areas in the top left hand corner, info 1 and info 2. And when this library view option window isn't on the screen, you can cycle between those by pressing I will show you that in a second, but let's go back to info 1. So this is what we're showing on info 1. We just have the file name and copy name, the capture date and time, and the dimensions as cropped. And in info number 2, I'm just going to change to something else. Let's change over to here and we can see something a bit different, just so that we can get something up on loop info 2, because the previous catalog didn't have that because I took out all the metadata. So we're in loop view now and we are info 2. Quickly, info 1 has, like I say, the file name, capture date and the crop dimensions, and I've chosen for info 2, which is down here, the file name still, but then a bit of metadata like the exposure and ISO and the lens setting. So that is the view options that you can do on this particular screen. So I'm just going to close this window down because I'm happy with the options I've selected. And I'm going to go back to the product folder and to grid view to see all these photos. And that is basically the view options that I look at. You can obviously explore the more detailed ones, but for the sake of this video, that's all we're going to look at now. But now we're going to look at how you can sort all your photos that are in a particular folder. So now we're going to look at the photos that you can sort and how you sort them. And this is really quite straightforward. Two ways you can do it. In the bottom here in the filter bar, you can see it says sort by capture time. You can change that information to any of these options down here, whichever ones you think are suitable for yourself. I'm going to leave it on capture time because most of my photos that I'm quite happy to go through on capture time. And you have this A to Z here where it can be in ascending or descending order. I leave it in ascending, so I have the earliest photo taken at the top. Or you can do it through the menu here when it says the view option window, the view drop down box, and sort. And it's basically the same options with ascending and descending at the bottom. And they're the same options as you get as if you were to click on here, and you have the same options here. And the ascending to descending is used with this A to Z or Z to A if you turn it around. So that's the sort options, really simple, really straightforward. And next up we're going to start talking about how you can rate or how you can filter and pick and choose which photos you like the best. So let's look at that section now. Okay, so there are various ways that you can rate and categorize your photos. The main ones are things like the flagging system, where you can flag a photo, not have it flagged or reject it in its entirety. Or you can go with the star options, where you could give it a 1 star, a 2 star, etc. up to 5 stars. Or finally, you can also color code the photos in red, yellow, green, blue and purple. Now the one that I use the most, I think, is the flagging or picking option, and you can do this in one of two ways. You can highlight a photo, you can come up to the drop down menu photo, and you can see where it says set flag, and you can have flagged, unflagged or rejected. I tend to go with the keyboard option, which is P for flagged. You can see that we now have a flag in the top left hand corner of this thumbnail. But I always do this on single photo view, so I'm just going to change the view mode here. So we can see now we have a flag here and a flag just in the bottom left hand corner on the thumbnail here. If I change my mind and I want to remove that flag, I just press U, which removes the flag. And if I don't like the photo altogether because it is rubbish or out of focus or something like that, you press X and you will see in the thumbnail or in the thumbnail strip at the bottom, the photo that I X will be grayed out, as you can see down here. So that is the main way that I use to flag or to highlight or to choose the photos that I want. I just go through them really quickly, and it enables me to see the ones that are flagged and the ones that aren't flagged. I'm just going to unflag this for the time being. The other way you have of rating your photos is the star rating. And you can use numbers for that, but again, if you come up to the photo and to the set rating, you can see the options here. Now it's pretty straightforward. 1 star is number 1, 2 stars is 2, and so on up to 5 stars is 5. That are the best. That's the options that you can use to star your photos, and you may want to do this to highlight your best ones or to pick the ones that are the best of the best, but I will come to how I use it at the end of this section, so stay with me for that. And the other option is you can color code the photos. Again, we can use numbers, but let's just have a quick look in the photo and the set color label. So we've said that 1 to 5 is for 1 star to 5 star, but you also have 6 to 9 to color code them: red, yellow, green and blue. Purple unfortunately doesn't get a number as far as I can tell, so you have to do that manually. So for example, this photo here, we may want to give it 5 stars and a yellow color code, as you can see here in the bottom left hand corner. How you do this is totally up to you. I don't tend to use color coding that much. I tend to use just the flags and the star rating, so I am quickly going to remove these settings so that I can move on to the next stage. Let me just explain real quick now how I do it. So I will go through the photos and pick the ones that I want, and I will highlight the ones that I want with a P for flagged or for picked. I want this one as a P. If I don't want this one, I will give it an X, which is rejected, and we see it go coloured, and so on. We can go through all of these and pick and reject them as appropriate. After that, I may then give them star ratings, 5 stars for the ones that I want to show off, maybe no stars or 3 stars or something like that for the ones that I don't think are that great, but I still want to keep them. I don't want to lose them. I want to keep them in my catalogue so that I can draw on them at any moment at all, or any moment that I want to, and which will bring me nicely onto my next point, which is how you can flag these really quickly with the less clicks or the less keystrokes as possible. So I'm just going to real quickly unflag all these, and I'm going to show you a nice little trick called Auto Advance. So when you're picking your photos, or you're flagging them or rating them or whatever you want to do with your photos, you press P to pick them. We have a flag in this bottom left hand corner here, or on this photo here, but it's still the cursor, if you like, or that photo is still highlighted. We then have to click on the next photo, give that a rating, click on the next photo, give that a rating, or arrow right and give that a rating. There is an option up here under photo called Auto Advance. Now if you make sure that is ticked, I'm just going to click on that now, and you can now see that we have that Auto Advance ticked. If we look at the bottom and I hit P, it will automatically auto advance to the next photo. So we can just quite simply go P, X for reject, P, P, X for reject, P, and it does that next, or auto advances to the next image for you, so you don't have to click on it or arrow right or anything like that. So while it's not a major thing, it really does save you time and keystrokes, and it enables you to get through your workflow a lot quicker. Let's say that we're working on these photos here. I set it up in a way that it hides the rejected ones straight away. If we come down here to the filter bar, you can see we have filter for flagged photos, for unflagged photos, and for rejected photos. I'm just going to quickly Command Z or Control Z to undo all the ones that I've flagged so far, because I want to show you something real quick. There we go, we are back to normal now, no flagged photos. I highlight the unflagged photos and the flagged photos, so I make sure that rejected photos is not included. So if I pick the first one, as you can see in the bottom left here, pick the second one. Let's say I don't want that one, I'm going to hit X, and because of the filters that I've set up here, this one will disappear from view, so it's not on my radar at all, although it is still in the catalogue and I can look at it. I'm going to press X, and you'll see photo number 3, this black and white one, disappear. And then I can carry on going. And I think I like this one with the pick, not the one on its own, so I'm going to reject that one, it disappears. I'm going to pick that one, I'm going to pick that one, and so on. I don't like this one with the clock, so I'm going to reject it and it will disappear. But that's because it's not deleting it, it's not doing anything to the photo, it's just because I'm filtering on unflagged and flagged photos only, and the rejected photos are being hidden. So that is a real quick way of just zoning in on the photos that you want to look at and hiding the ones that you don't want to look at. So there, we've quickly talked about how you can flag and rate your photos, but there are different views that you can use that will help you flag and rate your photos if perhaps some photos are similar. So again, I'm quickly gonna Command Z, bring all these photos back, and we're back to a full quota of 31 photos, and I'm going to come along to these water splash photos at the end here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 photos in total. We're not going to worry about this one at the end because it's a duplicate, so I'm just going to X on image number 31, and take that out. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 photos, all of the water splash photos that I did a little while ago. Now, let's say that you want to present these to somebody, or you want to show these off, and you don't necessarily want 2 photos to do the same. So you see here we have this Glenfiddich bottle splashing into a vase type thing of water, and we have one at the end here, and we have this one here as well. So we have 2 different ones, and we want to see them side by side to compare which is the best. We can just click on the XY button here in the filter bar, and the 2 photos, or the 2 last photos that you selected, will be visible. So you can click on any of these and it will replace. Let's say in this left one here, you click on the left panel, and we're going to select the bottle that is half in the water, and we're going to click on the right, and we want the bottle that has gone totally underwater. So we can now compare the 2 because we are in the view in the library that compares 2 photos side by side. Once you know which one you want to reject, we are going to go back to single screen view. We want the one that rejected that is totally in the water, or we want to reject the one that is coming in the water. Whichever one you choose to reject, make sure you've got that highlighted, press X, and that photo is now disappeared because you've decided to keep the one that has gone straight in the water, like this one here. But what if there's more than 2 you want to compare? Well, you can do that as well just by using survey view, which is the next icon along the filter bar here. Click on that one, and it's got 1 photo highlighted already, but you can then press Command and you can highlight all the other ones in the sequence that you want to check. So we've got the bottle highlighted at the end here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and it now gives you all 4 on the screen, so you can decide which ones you want and which ones you don't want. And while they're on the screen, in the bottom left hand corner of each photo, you can see the pick or reject flag. So you can then pick the ones you want, pick the ones you want, and we've got these 2 picked, for example, or you may want to pick all 4 of them. I am just going to Command Z that to undo those because I want to keep them all in my all unpicked for the time being. But that is simply how you use the survey mode, where you can view more than 1 photo at a time. So now that we have decided which photos we want, real quick we're going to look at collections, and mainly smart collections. So we're back to full screen on these images. I'm going to go back to the beginning of the photos. So collections are a way of grouping chosen photos under one folder. You can click and drag the photo to the collection, or you can right mouse click. First of all, where do you set up collections? Well, collections are set up in the collection area here. You can click the plus button and you can create a collection, and you just type in the collection name. I've already done one here called Best Landscapes, as you can see here. Nothing in there at the moment, so we are going to go to our landscape photos, and I'm going to go to grid view just so I can see all the photos on my screen. This option could be used for many reasons. Maybe you want to group together a selection of photos to show off, or you want to have a group of your best landscape photos ever. So you could quite easily just click the ones that you like and drag them straight into best landscapes. A quick word here, it doesn't duplicate the photos. All it does is filters them into a collection called best landscapes. But there's a way you can do that automatically. Let's go back to the landscape folder, and we have all of these, what have we got, 13 photos here. Let's talk real quick about smart collections. Now, smart collections are very similar to collections, except the photos are added automatically to the collection depending on the criteria you choose. So we are going to set up a smart collection for landscape photos that are 5 stars. So we're going to click the plus button. We are going to create a smart collection, and it gives us this window, and we are going to name this collection Landscape Best of, for example. Now, what criteria do we want? So we want to match all of what we're going to put underneath here. You can say all or any, but we're going to go for all because we want to say that it matches this and it matches this rather than it matches this or it matches this. I hope that makes sense. When I do this, you will kind of get that if I didn't explain that very well. So let's say all for the time being, and we are going to go for all the photos, or the source file or the source folder in this case contains the word landscape, which is the folder that you can see on the left here. And we are going to add in some more criteria, which is the rating is greater than or equal to, and we are going to say 5 stars. So at the moment in this folder there are, or in this smart collection rather, we've got landscape best of. You can tell it's a smart collection because it has this yellow cog next to it. We've got no photos. So if we go back to the landscape folder and we say, I've edited these photos, I like them all, but I really love this one here of Bow Lake, so I'm going to rate that 5. I also love this one of the slow waterfall, or the slow shutter speed of the waterfall, and we're going to give that a 5 as well. And finally we like this one of Bixby Bridge in California, we are going to give that a 5 as well. So we have now chosen 3 photos in the landscape folder that are rated 5 stars, and if we come down to landscape best of, you can see that we have 3 photos all rated 5 stars. Basically all we have to do then is, from that folder, the ones that we rate 5 stars will appear in the landscapes best of. But really quickly, what if you want other landscape photos to go in there that aren't in the landscape folder? That's easy enough too. We can come into the smart collection again, we can right mouse click and do edit smart collection, and instead of having the folder as the predominant, or as one of the main factors that puts things into that folder, let's change it to keywords. So we're going to say the keyword contains landscape, and we're going to save this, and these 3 photos may disappear because they don't have the keyword as landscape in, so they've now disappeared. But we are going to come back here, we have 5 stars, and over here on the keyword tags we are going to type in landscape. I'm going to copy that just for speed. We chose the waterfall one, didn't we, which is going to have landscape, and we also want Bixby Bridge, which is going to have landscape as a keyword. And we now come down to the smart collection, and we have the photos in here that have a keyword as landscape and a keyword or as the rating as 5 stars. Now the reason it's good doing it that way is because if we then go into our panoramas and we like, I don't know, this photo of the city of LA from the Mulholland Drive overlook, we can give this 5 stars, which on its own will not put it into the landscape best of folder because we need to key tag it as landscape. And once we enter that as the keyword, we can come down to landscape best of, and we will see that that has gone in there too. So that's a great way of using smart collections. If you go out on the landscape, you do another landscape shoot, you know that anything 5 stars with a keyword of landscape will appear in your landscape best of smart collection, and you can choose the ones you want to drop in there as you go through your events or your shoots or your catalogue, and you can start and keyword the photos that you want to single out to be in the landscape best of folders. There's unlimited ways you can filter this. It's really good, up to you to play around and to set up the ones that are best for you and how you work and the workflow that you choose to go by. Next up, and there's 1 or 2 more things I'd like to show you. This next one is creating virtual copies, and we'll look at that right now. So we come back to our main folder here, or our main collection of photos, which is our product photos. And I'm using this one mainly because that's the one with the most photos in. It just makes things a little bit easier. Virtual copies. Well, why would we use virtual copies? Let's open up a photo that I particularly like, which is this one here. It's just a record with some random bits around it, and I really like the edit that I've done. But maybe I'm thinking to myself, I wonder what that would look like in black and white. Now there's no way that I want to undo all these edits I've done, fiddle around with it in black and white, and then realise that I've lost all of the edits that I've done. So what we can do is virtual copies. So in the bottom here, come down to the film strip, right mouse click, and we can create a virtual copy, and you'll see that it's given us now 2 copies. If we look up here in the left hand corner, it says Portfolio Product 108, and the next one it says Portfolio Product 108 Copy 1. So what we can do with this one here is we can go into Develop, and we can play around, because we now want to see what this is going to look like as a black and white photo. So let's say that for the time being we want this high contrast, really clear clarity photo with some vignetting just to highlight the name of the album and the artist. So you think to yourself, yeah, that's not too bad, but I wonder what it would look like if it was not so high contrast and a little bit more matty, or a little bit more sort of less contrasty and not quite as black and dark and moody. So again, click on the original, right mouse click, you want to create another virtual copy. So we now have copy 2. So we have the original, which is the color version, we have copy 1, which is the one that we've just turned black and white, and we now have copy 2. So then we can fiddle around with this one, and we can again make it black and white. We want to add a bit of a matte to it, we want to make sure it's a bit brighter. We're basically not sure which one we like. Do we like that one? Do we like this one? Remember before that I showed you could look at them side by side? Well, we can do that by going back to the library catalogue, clicking the XY or the compare view, and we can see them side by side. And when you've chosen which one you want, go back to single view, and you can export the one you want, which will give you the export that you want in black and white. But let's not forget, we still have the original edited version there, so we've not messed up the original edits that you probably love the most, but we've given ourselves 2 other options for black and white without damaging the original file, because let's not forget these are previews that are just overlaid onto the original file. So we have 1 master copy on the hard drive, but we have 3 edited previews, and you can choose which one you like the best. If you decide you don't like the black and white and you just want to stick to the original edited color version, you can highlight the 2 black and white ones, right mouse click, and remove photos. All that's going to do is remove the 2 selected virtual copies, and it's going to leave you the original one on the hard drive and in Lightroom. So that is the way you can set up virtual copies and re-edit photos you've already edited without ruining your original edit, if that makes sense. Lastly, and this isn't really to do with flagging them, but it is to do with sorting photos, what happens if you want to move some photos on the hard drive. So let's look at that right now. So let's look at moving photos on the hard drive. We are back to our master catalogue of our product photos that we've been using for this whole tutorial. But we've got some more photos here, or that are photos that I took for another tutorial when I quickly discussed how you import photos. Let's say that one of them we really like, and we like this import tutorial 1009, just of this Johnny Walker. Oh, what happened there? There we go, just with this Johnny Walker bottle top. Let's say that, you know what, I really like that and I want that in my product folder on the hard drive. Now, do not move it on the hard drive, because then you will lose connection to it in Lightroom. So the way to do it is to move the image in Lightroom, because that will not only move it on the hard drive, but it will also move it in Lightroom, and it will keep the connection to that image in Lightroom. So how do we do that? Really simple, as if you would in any Finder or File Explorer window. Find the photo that you want to move, and you just click on it in the library module, drag that photo to the folder that you want. So we want to put that in product photo, or in the product folder, and let go. moving file on disk. So this is telling us the photos that you've selected are going to be moved on the hard drive, not just in Lightroom. You can see that we have 31 photos in the product folder. If I click on move, that will move it out of the import tutorial folder, and we now have 32 photos in the product folder. So that's a real quick way and the right way of moving things in Lightroom. Do not move it on the hard drive, because if you do, you will lose the connection in the catalog and you'll have to reconnect that photo with the photo on the hard drive. I'm not going to do that right now. I may do that in a future video. I don't want to complicate things. Suffice to say, move your photos within Lightroom rather than within your Windows or your Mac Explorer or Finder window. So there we go. That was quite a long video. I think it was, I don't know really, 20-25 minutes maybe, but well worth it I think, because once you've flagged and rated all your photos, you can then move over to the develop module, where you can edit and tweak and customize the photos that you have chosen. And that is going to be the subject of our next tutorial. But before we move on to that, I will do a quick video on the develop module. I'm just looking at my screen here so that I remember what I'm talking about. We will do a quick video on the develop module, where you can see all the panels and all the options that you have in the develop module before we actually start editing a photo, which of course is very much a personal thing. Everyone edits their photos differently, but we'll take you around the develop module and you can see for yourself what that entails and what there is to it. So I think I've covered most things now in the library module. I hope you found that useful. If you did, give me a thumbs up, and don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe on the video, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Take care.